All right, welcome to Rock Your Book Launch. We are in the middle of a Facebook series with my good friend and Facebook expert, Stacey Kennedy. Stacey works for Redbird Social, which is an amazing marketing agency specializing in so many different aspects of marketing and book launches, and particularly Facebook. So I am so thrilled that Stacey is sharing her Facebook knowledge with me in this little mini series for the podcast. So we are going to dive into the organic side of Facebook and content and everything in this episode. So Stacey, share with us a little bit about some of the best practices for authors on Facebook and that organic level.
Sure. Organic is tougher these days than it used to be.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we could just post content and it would show up on, the news feed in chronological order. That
Yeah.
just doesn't happen anymore. Now we
I
have
I barely
nipples.
remember those days.
You remember? Oh, I remember. It was great. And it used to be that the more you posted on Facebook, the more people would see your content. And
Mhm.
so there were channels I managed back in the day, and I posted 23 times a day and
Wow.
helped grow those channels. You cannot do that anymore. So when you think about organic content, you really want to think about content that is going to like engage your
Mhm.
audience. And so if you're an author, the kind of content that is engaging to an audience could be quotes from your book.
Mhm.
It could be even quotes from other people. But you want to think about what kind of content is either going to get somebody to comment or like this post because it hits them the right way,
Yeah.
or it's so inspirational, it's going to inspire them to share it with their audiences. That's like, the gold mine of engaging content. And
Mhm.
so for a lot of authors, I mean, it can be updates about your writing process, it could be your new book coming out, it could be events that you're doing. But I really think that the organic content that really sparks people is the kind of content that asks, when you're asking for an opinion from your audience about something, everyone's got an opinion. So
Yeah.
think about things that will really get them to respond. And then right on the other side of that is you responding back. And
Mhm.
so you're not just posting it and forgetting it. The engaging goes both ways. And so they need to know that you're a real person, that you're
Yeah.
there, that you see them, and that you value their input. And so just keep in mind, if you are, maybe hopefully I'm not jumping ahead, but if you're using like a content calendar,
Yeah.
which I highly recommend. A content calendar would be something that an author uses. Perhaps it's a spreadsheet. Perhaps it's actually like a calendar you write on where you
Yeah.
plan out your posts. Some people like to use a content calendar to say, on Mondays, I'm going to post this kind of content.
Yeah.
On Wednesdays, I'm going to post this. However, you want to organize your content, then a lot of authors will schedule that content out.
Mhm.
Say once a month, you schedule all the posts that are going to go out for the month. But that doesn't mean you only look at your Facebook page and your Instagram.
Yeah.
You got to go back in there after those posts go up. Set a reminder on your phone. Everything goes up at 6 p.m. So by 6:30, I'm in there and I'm
Mhm.
engaging. Um, so make sure that your engagement with your audience is active. Respond to comments or at least heart them,
Yeah.
respond to messages and foster that sense of community by encouraging the discussions between other people and between yourself.
Yeah. So I know you kind of joked about how in the past you would be posting like 23 times a day. So we know just because of the way Facebook has changed, that's not really realistic for authors who are managing their own accounts. Also, probably not realistic. So, what
Right.
kind of in your experience now working with clients and spending time on the platform? What do you see as a good consistent like posting schedule, or what's a good number of posts like per week, even if it's a range that an author should be thinking about with Facebook?
I would say minimum three posts a week.
Okay.
And I would say ideally every single day,
Mm-hmm.
ideally once a day. Know where your holes are in your content. Let's say you schedule three posts a week.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves you four other times where you can do things maybe on the fly.
Yeah.
You can, a lot of people, pull up your phone and just do something in the moment. That gets so much response. Those videos, we had a client who the only time in her day, because she had a literal van full of children, would be when she was sitting in the car line at school.
Yeah.
And that would be the time of day. She would pull out her phone and post live, post a video on her Facebook page to her people. And it was so successful for her. And she's in her
That's amazing.
car, just
Yeah.
sitting in the car. And so some people take their phone with them when they go on a hike or a walk, or some people
Yeah.
don't like to be on camera. And so they'll turn the phone around and take video of their cat while they talk. It really doesn't
Yeah.
matter. What matters is your presence. And what matters is you engaging back with your community as much as they're engaging with you, and a
Yeah.
regular posting schedule. So that's kind of why I threw out, like, maybe you schedule three posts a week, but then you add more in there.
Yeah.
Make sure those three are scheduled and set up. Nobody likes to wake up on a Tuesday and go, oh man, I haven't posted in
Yeah.
2 weeks. Don't do that.
Right. And then I think this leads into like some of the different like features or like content styles that Facebook offers. So talk a little bit about like stories or polls, live video that is available to authors on that kind of organic level.
I mean, I think that a lot of the polls and stories tend to be more effective on Instagram, but you can share those to Facebook.
Yeah.
When your Instagram and your Facebook are connected, for sure. I think people consume reels on both platforms. They tend to consume the reels more on Instagram, and stories as well. But there's so many features within stories, like polls, asking people for their opinion. I love that, ask me anything, and then
Yeah.
people ask you questions. Um, just start looking, pull it up and play around with it. What's the worst thing that can happen? Nobody responds. Okay, well,
Yeah.
try something different. That didn't work for your audience. I think it's really important for you to, maybe do your own research about, watch other people in your space. What are they
Yeah.
doing?
That's
And then
great
if you
advice.
I don't understand how this person did this fun new thing in Instagram stories, send them a message or Google your question.
Yeah.
And because I mean, all the time I'm learning something new every single day. Like, oh, I didn't know you could do this. And a client told me, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we do this all the time. And so no one knows all the things. We all learn from each other. And so don't be afraid to reach out and ask someone, how did you do that? How did you make your video this way? What app did you use? Or what, we were talking earlier about Canva as a great tool for a lot of different, graphics and video creation, but there's so many other apps out there too that can help with that. So
Yeah.
did I answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think thinking about apps, I think you've used a few different platforms for scheduling. So I know that was one of the things you talked about. What would be like the top two or three that you recommend for an author who is new to using a scheduling tool?
My favorite tool for an author, brand new, is to just use the planner in Meta Business Suite. It's
That's
free.
easy.
It's right there. There's a
Yeah.
calendar, you can look at the calendar inside of the back end of Meta Business Suite. You can see all of those tools, and it doesn't cost anything. So if you're brand new and starting out, it used to not be, we'd have to pay for a scheduling tool to
Hmm.
schedule out our posts. And you don't have to do that anymore. So that's my number one recommendation. I don't know of another scheduling tool out there for, somebody who's just a personal brand,
Mhm.
who's doing their own thing, that really replaces Planner as something better.
Yeah.
We have clients who use Later, who use Sprout Social, Hootsuite. There's a ton of different
Yeah.
scheduling platforms out there. They all have their pros and their cons. A
Yeah.
lot of people like those paid platforms because you can do more, like they call it listening, like searching for hashtags or generating more detailed reports, especially when it comes to ad reporting. That's
Mhm.
one reason why someone might want to pay for a scheduling platform, because they're really into the data and they're
Yeah.
really into numbers. But you get a lot of data in the insights section of Meta Business Suite. So it really depends on your brand, and it depends on um, how much you care about all the different features
Yeah.
that are out for another scheduler.
Yeah. The last piece I want to talk about with the kind of organic side of Facebook is authenticity. Like this is something that, I mean, I've seen and heard about this a lot. Something I've talked about on my own platform. Something I heard even again at London Book Fair last week as being one of the most critical like tools for authors. So talk a little bit about like using authenticity when it comes to creating content for Facebook.
I think people can smell when you're fake.
Yeah,
I also
agreed.
think people can smell Chat GPT.
Yeah,
I think using AI can be really helpful if you need to get help brainstorming, but it is really essential that you are yourself. People are going to be attracted to who you are. So don't try to be somebody else. You can look and emulate other people and strategies, but still just be you. And
yeah,
if your humor is weird, that's a good thing.
yeah,
Most people like your weird humor. Use storytelling. Tell your story the way, the best way that you can. Use humor, use a genuine emotion will
hmm,
captivate your audience. I have one really quick example. In our agency, we were posting something for an author, and there was a typo in the actual video. And we were like, well, I don't know if this author would care as much. So what we did in the social copy was we made
yeah.
fun of the typo. Like, see,
Nice.
that's the typo. And it ended up being one of the most fun posts, and the author really loved it. And so it is not about being perfect. It's about just
I love
being
that.
real. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's something that I've seen too over time is that some of the authors that can build those big communities on social media do so through sharing that really just relatable, authentic content. So yeah, I also just see that as being a huge benefit for authors when it comes to social media, even like Facebook in particular. So I appreciate you sharing that. And then so for authors who are listening, we are in kind of the middle of a Facebook series. So we had an episode talking about some of the basics of Facebook and what you need to get set up. Talked about some organic strategies here today. In future episodes, we are going to be talking all about the different aspects of Facebook advertising. So if you are looking to really dive deeper into how Facebook can help you promote your book, stay tuned for the rest of this Facebook series with Stacey Kennedy. Stacey, thank you so much for sharing your expertise, and let's keep going.
Let's do it.